we're all fortunate to be here, and we should share this knowledge and technology with the rest of the world, as they are so hungry for a solution to what's been devastating this planet.
Can I come in, please? Good evening.
Yes, please.
Sorry about this. Maybe it's just appropriate to come in the right time. As you know, we pushed with the peace process with Iran, between Iran and Israel and US. And in that process, as we, previous communication with the Israeli government, as we said, and latest of 2 years ago when bin Laden refused any communication through me as a person, the Iranian government, and organizing the peace process, we have had a condition with the Israelis from the beginning. That's why they could not respond. And the condition was that Keshe Foundation will give the technology to Israelis to defend themselves, if need be, on the basis of the peace with Iran. That was one of the conditions which was always stood. And since the broadcast of this Thursday, we have achieved a breakthrough. And as we discussed with the Iranian government officials in the background and all the time in respect how to find a solution for Iran. If you remember, the Keshe Foundation Universal Council from Israel was in Iran and could answer the questions and was amongst the panel in the Persian Farsi language. We pursued our work, which we've done for past 10 years. I have always, in the background, with the full knowledge of Iranian government, negotiated with the Israelis to find a solution. And one of the ways of the solution was to give them permission to use Keshe Foundation defense technology to defend their territory like every other nation if need be, in exchange for peace. And as Thursday teaching went out, as you just played, and in our communication with Iranian leadership, and as I said, that we wanted to do peace and we want to organize it. 7 o'clock this morning, we received the confirmation from Iranian leadership and the Sepah that this peace talks can start with Israel and the United States. And immediately, Keshe Foundation management team, who was responsible with our security, moved into position. We took flight and we took new position to start negotiation with Americans and Israelis tomorrow morning. This, I hope, will bring a new dimension. We have gone to a new center, and we are positioned to start negotiation directly with the Iranians on behalf of the Iranian, with the full support of the Sepah and the Iranian leadership, with the American government and the state of Israel. We will not compromise anything which endanger the territory of Iran. And in that process, whatever we achieve, it will take a long time. It showed how our teachings reaches officials so fast. In all my communication in the past with Israel, Iran was fully debriefed, all my letters, all my communications. And on Thursday, after the teaching, and request from the Iranian leadership on Wednesday, the week before, Iran has responded. This morning, as I said, at 7 o'clock in the morning, they woke me up. And they have instructed me to go ahead with a peace negotiation with the state of Israel and with the United States. And we are in position to start this tomorrow morning with a full approval and blessing of the Iranian leadership and Sepah. And hopefully tonight will be a peaceful night, and tomorrow we will start with a blessing of the what we call the Iranian nation, Americans and Israelis, that will find a solution for peace between the nations. As has been the tradition, we give full protection to the state of Israel, that they don't feel they're not defended as much as we have given the full technology to Iran and to the United States. And in the talks of next days, as we have moved into negotiation tables, we have to negotiate how the Keshe Foundation Space Technology, in conjunction with the American space groups, will take place in Arizona next for 6 weeks. Now we have actually entered with a vertical enhancement unit into direct operation of the collaboration between Iran, scientific organizations, and the United States space programs, which will be done in Arizona centers. And as the vertical enhancement units moves into the position in the next 4 to 6 weeks as they leave Austria with a full knowledge and protection of American, what we call military intelligence, that we start sharing knowledge. And at the same time, in past 48 hours, less than that, 24 hours, the Chinese government has given another huge boost to Keshe Foundation in Chinese territory, which makes the Chinese Keshe Foundation Chinese Corporation one of the largest corporations in Chinese territory, supported by CPC and Chinese leadership. We have received the approval, and the Keshe Foundation team in China move in position tomorrow morning into Beijing from the headquarters of Guangzhou to complete this process. This is thanks to work of all of us, but I wish and I ask for the support of the units of council members to support us now that we are sitting across tables with the Israelis and the Iranians and the Americans, that we find a solution the same as we did with Hard+1. And in that process, it's all timing which has come together. And as we said the Wednesday before, as I spoke to the Iranian government in the Persian language, asking for Iranian leadership to support us by the opening of the Keshe Foundation television to be on the peace talks. And they immediately responded, as you've seen, on the Wednesday, the same night, releasing my name as a leading Iranian technology, which now takes the head of the operation of Iran with the space technology. On Thursday, they responded immediately. I have received the full authorization from the Sepah of Iran and the Iranian leadership to negotiate for peace talks. And we did not waste time. We immediately took flight, and we've taken our position to start negotiation. And this shows when we wish for peace, governments stand with us. And the Iranian officials have ratified my license agreement with the Israelis, that Israel will have the same benefit as Iran in a space technology, but no use of technology in defense or in military. In so many ways, maybe with a new administration, and as we know, the husband of the vice president of the United States, a Jewish person, but on the peace side of the what we call the White House, or Jewish lobby, not like the old Trump with a fighting side. This has given us a political gap, which we seized on upon, and I would like to thank the officers of Eminence Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran, the leadership of Sepah, the Keshe Foundation management team, and at the same time with the American administration to making this meeting of tomorrow between the nations possible. This time we played very open. There nobody abusing the position. We are positioned tonight to take talks with the Americans and Israelis tomorrow morning with the full blessing of the Iranian leadership and Sepah. You have to understand one thing, how the position of Keshe Foundation has changed in Iran. Keshe Foundation now has received the full protection of Sepah and the Iranian leadership, which means we directly speak to the leadership, we directly speak to the heads of the Sepah. We don't need to wait. They called our team 6:30 this morning, Tehran time, that is our time in Europe. And we've been given a full setting of negotiation according to the previous letters and communications with the Israelis and the Americans. I have made it very clear to the Iranian leadership in my communication this morning that this time we played very open. The reason is that we are hoping and we strive that some sort of the signing of the peace treaty between Iran, United States, and Israel will be done on KFTV channel, which means we'll be the only group which will have the access to it. We will not release detailed negotiations because it's very harsh. But in this charter, which I have received orders from the Iranian government to negotiate, Palestinian state of Palestine, and Palestinian citizens in Middle East have an equal right as Iranian nationals on negotiation table, which means we take the burden out of the Palestine. I have worked very heavily with the Palestinians for years, over 40 years, and now I have never let the Palestinians down. And Iran and Palestinian teams will be part of our negotiation team. Whatever we ask for, it will be equal and on a shared and fair basis for the state of Iran, state of Israel, state of Palestine, and United States. You have to realize why we played it this way. Once I moved the technology to United States in Arizona, Americans become aware of full technology, and this can be passed on to Israel. And this can be against the interest of the state of what we call the nation of Iran. This is why we took this action, that before we ship the technology into Arizona, we have a full cooperation of American government, state of Israel, and the Iranian leadership. Playing politics is not easy. Playing peace is even harder than politics. In so many ways, I always have stuck to my guns, but I negotiated in the background, always kept the state of Iran at paramount. We always, even in negotiation with Americans in 2012 or 2011, when I gave the key to Americans, I put a hand of peace from Iran. And I have offered the same technology to Israelis with the license that it will be the territory of Iran, and peace with Iran is paramount in this licensing, which means they get the technology in exchange for peace with Iran and in the Middle East. And I would like, as I said before, to thank the Office of Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran and the leadership support for giving me the authorization this morning to start negotiations on the back of the work we've done before. And these negotiations with Israel on and off has been going on for nearly 10 years. Now I have received a direct authorization from Iranian Sepah to negotiate. And we keep it very open. We don't work behind in the back scene, because the Keshe Foundation Television has to be not only for us to teach, but to show how peace work works. And as I said, the Thursday before, on Wednesday night, I asked the Iranian leadership to be part of the peace process of the Keshe Foundation with a message from peace from Iran and Iranian Sepah. They immediately responded by publishing the document announcing that I've been a scientist which get transferred technology to Iran. And on Thursday, after the broadcast and showing the document of the Iran on the screen, the Iranian leadership has responded again. We are going for peace. The whole Iranian nation, with the structure of the Iranian leadership and Sepah, and Keshe Foundation being part of the Sepah organization in Iran to bring part of the civil defense into Iran, has moved into position. The Keshe Foundation management said we took flight immediately after instruction operation of the Iranian leadership and Sepah to us. And hopefully tomorrow morning, early in the morning, we will start negotiations. And we will see how we will reach that point in time. And in a way, this is a fantastic news for all of us. We have managed to bring the peaceful behavior of Iran beyond the borders of Iran into Middle East and into what we call United States. I cannot ship the enhancement into the United States with a new hidden technology and not expect it to be shared with Israel. So we have to reach peaceful negotiation with Israel. That we expect the meeting of the Iranian leaders and Israelis somewhere after the new election in Iran in May. We have to get rid of the present incompetent president of Iran, as he's a lame duck and he has not performed according to what was expected. In this process, we will see a massive movement that the license to Israel will be given with authorization of Iran in the negotiation with Americans, that they will receive the space technology of Iran on the back of full agreement of the peace, and the new technology of the Keshe Foundation on the back of the agreement of peace in the Middle East. And we know what is the consequences of it. Israel would not be allowed to use the newest defense technology which is given to them for any aggression. And at the same time, we will negotiate for rights of the Palestinians in Middle East, that we find at least peace. There are two things in diplomacy which we have to understand. We cannot have peace in Middle East with Americans if we don't engage Israelis and reach communication with them. On the other hand, we cannot achieve peace in Middle East if we do not bring justice and equal rights to this, what we call, to the Palestinians. And I have always been engaged in this process for years, long before the establishment of the Keshe Foundation. I am the only Iranian nuclear physicist who has been allowed to travel into the state of Israel in 2020 years ago, with a full knowledge of the administration, as I had to take part in a meeting of what we call a case we had with the full operation of, at that time, the Prime Minister of United Kingdom. He organized all my trips as a full Iranian nuclear physicist to appear in a case in a court in Israel, which was in defense of not only my companies, but the misconduct of the Israelis in their ports. And we achieved the whole thing in less than 1 hour. Now we expect the same. At the moment, the new American administration has put aside the state of Israel's desires attacking Iran. And the state of Israel is left on its own, and they don't expect any support from Biden. And there's a gap in there to move. I explained that to the Iranian officials, and we have agreed to move forward. And I hope all in the Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers support us and support through their soul, and then the Israeli leadership, the American leadership, and the Iranian leadership find peace in a short time. We can negotiate for years, or we can decide to put everything aside and go directly for a space technology and understand that there is no borders in the space. This is a great moment for all of us as Keshe Foundation, that now the government of China simultaneously with Iran in the same day, within 24 hours, have given such a huge levers to Keshe Foundation to negotiate and give us advantages, huge advantages within the structure of the Chinese economical territory. And since yesterday, we've been non-stop talking to all sides in China and in Iran, and we foresee the peace talks to succeed. And again, as I said on Thursday teaching, as you just played, we use the television for peace and sharing of the knowledge. And as I explained to the present controlling group of the Keshe Foundation TV in our meeting yesterday, there is a huge gap in the world of science where people, the youngsters and the young generation, would like to know to space. We have no full-time space television program anywhere in the world. The Keshe Foundation TV will cover this. We bring the world scientists. We show What is UFO? What is not UFO? What is the age of science in the space technology with the Americans, the Russians, and the rest? The Keshe Foundation TV will become the center of, as we said, CBRO, which covers the China, Iran, India. It brings in United States, Brazil, and South Africa into the game of the space program. With it, what will come out of the European community, we shall see. In a very short time, in a very, very short time, we'll see the establishment of CBRO directly with the collaboration of the scientists. As you remember, in our last excursion or travel to Brazil in 2019 for conference, with the permission of the Chinese president, the Keshe Foundation team was allowed to stay within the hotel with the Indian Prime Minister team. And the meetings which took in open and in a background, we achieved a lot of understanding. And in negotiation with the Brazilian government, we are stepping further into delivering of the technology to Brazil with the Iranian space program with the others. You got to realize now that we start sending these enhancement units around the world to different nations, they all will get access to space technology. But we have to have the control that is used for a peaceful application. I have offered the same to the Israeli government, enhancement unit and the vertical unit as a gift from Keshe Foundation to the state of Israel in exchange for peace with Iran, which means we all have access. The enhancement units, the vertical units, will be produced in Iran at the same time as in China. We have entered a massive space program, and what you will see to come out of the Keshe Foundation with the vertical units is the edge of technology beyond the imagination of man. We can control a lot of things. We can complete a lot of progress, and it's important for the Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers to take their position and ready to go. The Keshe Foundation is not me anymore, but it's us. And up to now, we have 16 nation languages appointed their people into the Keshe Foundation TV management control. We expect by Wednesday we'll reach about 20 groups, which means 20 national languages around the world will have the management team, and they can dictate how the programs will be on the television channel. We have become globally one nation. We will have about 60 people, 20 on each section of news, education, and the television side, that they have to work together to bring the program simultaneously up around the world. We have appointed a gentleman in England to take over the management control in everything which comes with the station. And he has accepted the position, which he is not a knowledge seeker, but a man who knows how to, in a way, see the television programs go correctly. We, with the Keshe Foundation Television, we've become a force to share technology and knowledge, at the same time bring the world leaders to be answerable to the peace. In so many ways, since this morning, as I woke up with the telephone call, a lot of things for us has changed. We are in a different place than we usually in Lens. We have to fly out to, and the American teams are in position, the Israeli teams are in position, and we'll start the talks tomorrow. And I thank again the Iranian government in authorizing me to move forward, but the program and it also stays the same. The sanctions on Iran has to be withdrawn immediately. Iran has to have a free access to world organizations as the rest of the citizens. And at the same time, we give every opportunity and knowledge, both to America and the rest, that they develop this technology beyond imagination. We will not move from this position, and the Americans have shown a green light to be able to negotiate. And I'm sure now that the Israeli leadership is isolated we will get the response from Israelis the right way. We will not report stage by stage, but as of tonight, in so many ways, my wish has come true. Everything has come true, and hopefully in our negotiations with our Keshe Nation, the Israeli representatives, the American representatives, and I represent both the Iranian officials and the Iranian nation, as I did with the 5+1, to achieve the best for the humanity and the nation of Iran. And then we move on, because this is the last stumbling block in Middle East for peace. And in that process, we can spread the technology and the knowledge. And it is a wonderful day for humanity. And when I look at my work and the struggles we had with Israelis 2 years ago trying to negotiate peace, but Netanyahu refused totally anybody but Keshe. Now he has to deal with Keshe. When I wrote to the Israeli Prime Minister before opening up the what we call giving the key, and after, Israeli nation is the only nation which we did not give the USB stick to, because we know American administration immediately delivered it to them. So in this understanding, we done the same. The enhancement units will move to Keshe Foundation Research Center in Arizona on the completion of the peace agreement with the United States and Israel and Iran, and all territories to be respected and all the nationals to be respected. And we think we can achieve this, especially by early March, or what you call early April. And I would like to thank all of you to be there. I would like to thank the Iranian officials in the background listening to this. The Israelis knew I will respond today, and the Americans knew I respond today. And our response is yes for peace talk. And hopefully tomorrow, on the table of negotiations with all the officials of the 3 nations, we'll find a solution, maybe not rapidly, but hopefully very short time. There's a lot of pride, there's a lot of nationalism, there's a lot of religion, and everything is mixed up in one big ice cream. Now we have to melt it to be able to move on. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for playing it, because I came to announce this and you were just playing the right time, the right part of the teaching. And I see a rapid development in peace and the spread of the knowledge across the world with Keshe Foundation Television. The video for the introduction of the television just arrived with us, is completed. The Keshe Foundation TV has agreed on everything. Tonight, all the documents were delivered to the television station that we can start the process. At the same time, we have asked for all the nationals to submit the forms, and on Wednesday at 12 o'clock, the new board of directors or controlling board of the Keshe Foundation Television will be invited to meet, and what I call the guardian team, which is the 8 of the Keshe Foundation, old hands and knowledgeable, will be there to guide these people through. And then it's gradually we hand over everything to the television channel. But the new television channel will be a place not just for knowledge seekers, but a place where we bring world leaders, the scientists, the space technology, and how the new space technology will look through the new understanding. And everything has come together, and in a way is thanks to all you knowledge seekers. It has to come through you, and we are, as I said, we are facilitators. The management of the Keshe Foundation has always been there to facilitate, and now we have facilitated. And any move with this will come directly into operation of all of us to see it through. And as I said, I was not expecting such a rapid move, and now with my instruction received from the Iranian leadership and Sepah, in light of all our previous negotiations, the same license will start. Israel will have access to the space technology and advanced technology of what we call deep space, like the Americans and like Iranians, upon agreement of the peace talk, or the agreement of the total peace within the Middle East. And we know they will agree with it. Thank you very much for all of you bringing us to this position, and the good news will come one after another. As I said, what we've been given by the Chinese government, we've been more or less negotiating for 2 years, and out of nowhere, yesterday morning, the Chinese government simultaneously contacted the Keshe Foundation team and offered what we're asking for with a full open transfer. And this makes Keshe Foundation one of the largest organizations supported by CPC in China in the coming years. And I would like to thank, as I know Chinese are online, the Office of Excellency Presidency of China for transfer of these rights to the Keshe Foundation. And I would like to thank especially Wang Lin, who has negotiated hard over months and months after my return from China to complete this. And now within next week, we'll complete it. And this will give the Keshe Foundation position as one of the top companies in China. Thank you very much for all of you and all your support.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
It's been a pleasure to work with a true master.
We will sign a peace treaty between Iran and Israel as fast as we can, with the support of His Excellency President Biden of the United States, who has created this position to be achieved. Not been easy. We told you 2 weeks ago we started negotiation with the Americans, and we kept Iran fully informed. And there has always been one way between me and the Iranian officials, that any communication I made with the Israelis or the Americans, as always, a copy has been in position of the Iranian leadership. And to that effect, they always protected my life outside and inside Iran. And nothing has been hidden, both from Americans and Israelis. And as I said, 2 years ago, when we approached the Israeli Prime Minister, he asked for 7 days to think about it. We gave him 7 days. Then he wanted a few more days before the answer. And at the end of the answer, he was very adamant with what we call Chief of Staff of United States and Head of CIA negotiating with us, that he will negotiate with anybody but Keshe, because Keshe will take everything which is to the benefit of Iran. And now we see he is forced to negotiate with Keshe because it's in the benefit of all of us. Iran, Palestinians, the Israelis, and United States, and most probably the rest of humanity. And at the same time, we don't see it coincidental that Chinese and the Iranian government at the same time have responded within 24 hours from each other. As I said to the Keshe Foundation team, it was one of the most beautiful telephone calls to receive on a Sunday morning at 7 o'clock. The Iranian leadership and the head of the Palace organization, which Keshe Foundation has become part of, the structure within Iran, have given me the green light, and we did not despair for a minute. We immediately took action. We took flight, and we positioned ourselves to start negotiating. But this time we negotiate directly in open. There is no hidden ways of doing things. But you have to understand, the world of politics is not ready for these kind of open negotiations. But we, as usual, we break the laws and we create new laws, and we have created this law. And I wish from all the knowledge seekers to pray for the Prime Minister of Israel, that we elevate his soul, that he sees the peace of mankind. The same with His Excellency President Biden of the United States. The same with the Iranian leader, His Eminence Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran, And the same with the soul of the Iranian Sepah leadership, and most of all with the Iranian team, with the Keshe Foundation team, who are there on the edge of it, making this possible. There is a lot of hard work, but in so many ways at the moment, trying to get the television running, and now this peace talk is starting, is not easy to juggle around, but at the same time, we have to deliver technologies and everything at the same time. It's a wonderful time, and to all coming together, and what we call the Iranian leadership granting Keshe Foundation to take part in this peace. And I have received a full instruction how I have to negotiate, not this time only from Keshe Foundation, but from the Iranian nation and the Iranian leadership and Sepah. And as all my communications have been open to them, they have asked me to enforce my license to the Israelis, which means peace in Iran is paramount to transfer of any technology to United States and the state of Israel, that we work together in one direction.
Mr. Keshe, how
Yeah.
do you see this affecting other countries in the Middle East?
Our just one second. The position now is that tomorrow, on 23rd, Iran has organized a large team of American defense and European defense specialists to go to the war zone in between Saudi Arabia and the state they're in war with. But at the same time, we are aware of this meeting. This is a highly move. It's a big move to bring peace into that part. We have to achieve. The next thing is to bring the two sections of the Islamic Republic of Iran and the Saudis, which is Shia and Sunnis, to one line. This is the biggest problem. It's breeding for centuries. It's not something new. And we have to get our trust back to bring the Saudis in line. By taking Israel on peace, we will see a change of position of making enemies against each other. We know Putin has always backed the work of the Keshe Foundation in China and the scientific side. Now we have the backing of the Chinese. Now we have to see how we bring the position, change of position in the Middle East through the new technologies. The biggest problem sits in Europe for us. You have to understand all the nations who made colonies out of other nations sit within one corner of Europe. And this is the biggest problem. That's why we kept the Europeans out of the space program. France, England, Spain, Portugal. These are the nations, and Holland especially, who have what we call colonized, and they don't want to let these colonies to go. With the new technology, we have to change those. We don't have colonization by any other part of the world, and this is the biggest problem I have been struggling with for years, how to cut the hand of these nations into the old way of colonization. And that's why we didn't allow, we cut Europeans in so many ways from many part of the work of negotiation and share of the technology with these 4 or 5 nations. If we solve this, we solved everything else, but hopefully we'll find solution. I have to take off for about 15, 20 minutes and I'll come back in and I'll listen. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Is there anyone here from the TV station that can comment on the educational team and what might be happening in the near future?
If I can come in, please. Thank you very much for all your work, Alex. But I think instead of stepping down, we were going to ask you to head the teaching side of the television program. In teaching about the way you look at the science of the field, then instead of doing so many communities, you just teach the teachers in one session a week or whatever. I know that you are getting involved with the enhancement unit in Canada Center and everything else. But instead of stepping down, we would like to invite you to head the education side of the plasma teaching and record teaching to teach how teachers to think and come to understanding of the new plasma technology. There are not many people like you in the Keshe Foundation. They're all struggling with the gases and the materials, where you have opened a new dimension into what actual teaching is about the plasma field flow. And it'll be a great loss if you step down now, where we are at the verge of teaching, needing to teach many people to cross that line from matter state and understanding the field interaction the way you can explain it. And
Wow, I have a confession.
Don't confess to me. We are not a church and not on a Sunday. The confession left him Vatican.
No. This is not a religious confession. First of all, I thank you very much. I am deeply committed to the Keshe Foundation, so I'm not stepping down from the Keshe Foundation. This opportunity that you're talking about is most welcome, and I don't have to even think about it. I would love to be part of that. So for that, I'm very grateful. My confession is this: the Brazilian community has done something extremely special, and that is that they have every Saturday night we conduct a private teaching for the teachers, and we hash it out. These sessions go 3 to 4 hours, and the number of teachers that have come forward has been phenomenal. And they're the only group that do this. And this gives me fantastic pleasure, because there are only 7,000 members on the Brazilian Telegram, and there are 250 million people. And even if we got 10% of those 250 million, 25 million, we still don't have enough teachers to handle that. The Brazilian team has set the pattern, and it's absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I cannot
The thing is,
express to you how wonderful that is.
I'm fully aware of it, but we got to realize one of the background programs which the Keshe Foundation TV is planning to do, in conjunction with knowledge seekers and member of Universal Council, we have a lady, as I said before, who is writing program for teachers. We hope she'll be ready for this in the next few weeks, that she does these programs for governments, and she has devoted her time to do this for Keshe Foundation, and hopefully she'll be able to complete it soon. She's been given access to all the teachings, your teachings, and the others in the background, and she has come in 2 or 3 weeks back. And what we are planning to do is, once these teachings, the Keshe Foundation Plasma teachings and Keshe Foundation Knowledge Seeker teachings, goes on video in a live presentation, then we offer these to education ministries around the world. Yeah, they can link into us and use the platform to teach the new plasma technology. So what we are planning to do is very limited number of knowledge seekers like you. Instead of making presentation in this way, to make a live presentation the way I used to do on board, and with the pictures available to be done. We just had, since I spoke before, the position of the editor and the runner of the Keshe Foundation TV has accepted, and we're going through the final phase of signing from tonight. So you have people who have the expertise to do this, to support you. In a way, if you take through your teaching in a live presentation, plus all the diagrams and pictures you have, then once gets loaded on the Keshe Foundation TV education side, we give access to the world education authorities to just transcribe it or put a voiceover on it. So I invite you to what 21 sessions you've done from session 1 to be redone, and plus you need now, you had add more into it to edit it, and we'll give you a camera crew that this can be visualized in much smaller teachings, half an hour, 20 minutes teachings, to go into the archives of the new television channel on teaching of the plasma, that we can offer these directly to universities and television channels, education channel televisions for the schools. This way we can reach billions.
I'm honored and grateful for the opportunity, and I'm happy to accept. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Let me organize things. We are just going through the initial phases. I know the power of television. I know how television can make changes. My family background comes long time past from the same first series of television owners in the world. I have seen in childhood how television has changed the dimension of my family. And in so many ways, I've been always aware of it. And that has been one of the reasons I always strive to get into the television structure, to spread the knowledge in a different way, visual. And this is one of my life goals, to get to this point, and now we have got there. I have seen how visual pictures than just talks as a screen can change things. In so many ways, I come to understand that we have a lot of teachings on how to make ganses, how to make nano coating, how to make cup of life. But we have not reached many scientists in the field of the Keshe Foundation the way you do, in explaining the fields, and in a very sweet way, that a very simple explanation opens the Pandora box of creation. And one of the first topics which we will do, and I asked the new appointed editor of the Keshe Foundation Television to get in touch with you to set up these kind of teachings very rapidly. Even we may put it on the main channel, that we can spread it, the knowledge to be understood. And I thank you very much for past weeks. I've been following your work. And as I said, you're a blessing with the knowledge, the way you explain. And I'm sure you'll be a teacher for many students who will follow you. And they will teach the same way. We saw people like Arman who came in and started spreading knowledge about nano and gansing and the cores and how it took place. As we pass that stage, we come into the dimension of the fields. We are one of the first ones who can do this. And in a way, your way of teaching will enlighten many people. And this is what I always said. And in the past few days, as I told you, what has happened to us in past 48 hours, 24 hours, in finding peace and happiness, everything has changed for Keshe Foundation. And as I said, it's amazing how even the teaching has changed, even the way we have settled in accepting that we have won the battle but we are not proud to shout it. The battle to educate, the battle to share knowledge unconditionally. And with the Keshe Foundation television channel, we will break through many, many directions of the science and technology. And
May I ask you,
pardon?
may I ask you, what is the future for this particular platform?
They stay, we don't change. We build on. We do not change anything. All the Keshe Foundation groups, teachings. You see, the 21 session is long enough, or maybe a little bit once a month. If you teach on this platform, it'll be good, because every day, every teaching, with the Thursday teaching and other teachings we do, adds to the knowledge, and the way you sum it up, you bring in a new.
Yeah, but I can't keep up with you. You go so fast.
I have not even started teaching properly.
I go.
The-
I'm just hanging on like a wild horse. I'm just hanging on to the saddle.
Yeah, we have, as you know, we have asked Dr. Elia Kostova to return back into the rank of the Keshe Foundation, teaching on medical side, explaining the physiology of the organs. We have asked many other scientists of the Keshe Foundation who were advanced at the time to return. And some are coming in as the structure takes place, and some will join us in the coming time. There is a lot of knowledge which I have not even started explaining. The creation of conversion of the voltage to current, which is the biggest mystery in the world of science, has not been explained. The breakthrough will come when the scientists understand how you convert voltages to currents. In what condition it changes voltage to current, then the energy becomes everlasting. Well, what has not been understood, for the first time, I have explained this to one Keshe Foundation scientist in past week, and I've seen tears in his eyes. That boy, mankind could not see this so early. Once I explained the conversion of creation of the what we call plasmatic field radiation, the whole history of mankind in science and technology will change. Our body does that. This is the way we live in our cells. We haven't even started teaching about the universal knowledge. And gradually we're building into, I enjoyed working with Dr. Elia Kostova because she brought a true physical dimension into the knowledge of physiology, and we brought the knowledge of the understanding of the emotion and the direction of plasma physics. On the other hand, you bring the same thing in a very much general idea of understanding. Does not have to be in the structure of the body of the man or a cell or an organ. You give it a more general look that it can be applied anywhere. And in so many ways, I think the Keshe Foundation is in for a huge surprise. And very soon, very, very soon, especially with the instruction I received from the Iranian government this morning, I see the beginning of the one nation, one planet, one race under the banner of knowledge and science and technology. And with it, peace. Nations will keep their name of nationality. It's the only way we will find out where we are from or which part of this planet. But in general, with what I see ahead of us, we have already struck out and we have reached the first steps of one nation, one planet, one race. And this needs one knowledge that we share instantaneously and directly with all of us. And it's nice to see people like you. And I've seen two scientists in China who explain the knowledge the way you do, but in a very beautiful way with Yin and Yang. They're all hands in the Chinese Space Agency and big supporters of Keshe Foundation. We had a third one, we lost him, he died a few months ago. And he's been one of the most admirable Keshe Foundation scientists. senior Chinese space professor, and he has many followers, and he has told his followers, the only way you follow is what Keshe Foundation does, and do not break rank. And we've seen them with us. We've seen them collectively supporting the Keshe Foundation in different ways, and they are flourishing in China. And the same we need on this side. But in the near future, I will ask the Chinese leadership to allow the Keshe Foundation TV to be broadcast directly into China. As many of you know, Keshe Foundation, especially with the language I speak in regarding misconducts of some of the world leaders or whatever is wrong or right, in past 8 years has not blocked or put a firewall on us. They only cut 2 sessions of the Keshe Foundation in a very small 5-10 minutes because they were not happy me criticizing President Xi directly. And then it was added on because they found it correct to be. And we will become, and the way we see it, the Keshe Foundation television channel will be open and streamed around the world without borders as one nation, one planet television in science and in technology. And scientists like you in understanding of the plasma technology as a blessed source need to be there to teach the new. And we cannot teach 200 what we call Brazilians or other scientists. We need to teach everyone to become a teacher. And I'm sure I'll put you in touch with our editor of the Keshe Foundation, who's running it temporarily till it takes the full time. The board of directors of the Keshe Foundation never agreed to his position for long term. Then we need people like you to bring the new phase in science of space and field interaction, not in the science of what we call gases and nanomaterials and the rest. In the next week or two, the first Keshe Foundation farm with a banner of against plasma technology farming will go up in Europe. And this will become a testing ground for many scientists. And we need to teach. In the past 48 hours, we received people who done a lot of work with in China, opening the first factories in China as it started. Not belonging to Keshe Foundation, but in conjunction with the government and different organizations of the Chinese structure. And we need teachers like this for people in physical dimension to understand nanotechnology and plasma is for the dimension of the man's achievement on this planet. And teaching like this in plasma interaction is what we need to understand as become the man of space. And it'll be fantastic if you take that position, make videos, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and go through your session 1 till 21 and split it in 2 each, that it can be put in the main channel of the Keshe Foundation teaching, and everyone can do it in their own time in different languages and be kept in the teaching section. This is with your teaching, we move from matter state into understanding of the fields and their interaction. And this is the beauty of it. And this is why many people like to listen to your teaching, because you show them the transition from matter to the fields. And I'm sure you'll find many people will follow this way and will go into the next steps of interaction of the fields. And it's amazing how we have achieved such a progress in such a short time with your teachings in getting more people to understand the difference of the matter and fields.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much indeed. We have had many souls who've been with us and brought the foundation into different levels at different stages. We saw the beautiful work of Alex at this time broke through. Many people understood. We saw people like Armand, we saw people like Dr. Kostova. We've seen Dr. Rodriguez, how they added to the knowledge in their own steps, and now what we call the field of the interactions of the magnetic and gravitational fields with your explanation. Many people will follow you and explain in more detail. And this is opening the next level of understanding of technology. And I'm very, very, very hopeful that we see scientists from other organizations who have the knowledge and now they can connect it to the plasma technology and will bring in new concepts and developments. And it'll be fantastic in what we see and what is about to happen. As I said, it's a collective work. Tens of thousands of people around the world continuously developing and allowing it to develop further. Thank you very much. And we don't want anything to change because these Corona these teachings on a platform like Brazil, Polish, Romanian, and Germans, and Spanish, and Portuguese, and North Americans, and the Chinese has taken a huge stride in the past few months. Chinese have a 4-day week session teaching now. Every week, 2 to 4 hours, 4 times a week, and just building up. And they are going through books page by page. They're going through scientific papers each session, page by page, to what they understand, what they can do. And what was the examination and explanation of. And the only thing is we don't get access to the Chinese teaching, but I attend some of their teachings. It's amazing how they are reaching many, many people in many ways. And I'm sure soon they'll come into the field interactions the way you train and teach. Thank you very much for all your hard work. And I'm sure you brought a new change for people to see it, what we tried to explain for years.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Hello, everybody. You don't know how much, how happy I am with your news. Today, 2 hours, I just chant, thinking, I mean, about peace from 6 to 8. I just feel it to do like this. And thank you also to Mr. Alex, because he had nice skills to teach, and he did it in beautiful way. I have to confess you. And I hope I will be also able to explain maybe in different way, because all my life I teach people. Since 18 years old, I finished my pedagogical high school, and I start to work. And after I interrupt to study. I study a lot of, and I maybe from my professor, I learn how to don't teach, because you can learn from not so well example too. Not all professor did methodology, psychology, pedagogy, and andrology, because it's different to teach children and to teach adults. And I think it's better if you'll have videos, because we have communicate in a written way. Only 3% we can transfer, but 97% is non-informal, it's para-communication, non-lingual communication with the body, with eyes, with all movements. I think it's important to use your eyes and to try to communicate straight in the eyes of the other people, even we don't see them, to touch their soul, because the eyes are like the mirror of the soul of man. I'm confident about tomorrow. All the week I study about international politics, and I can see that United Nations and also European Union made good steps for Iran. And this is thanks to you, Mr. Keshe, and maybe to our intentions, but especially you, because you did this step by step from a long time. I also wish to help, but my help will be humble, will be at the soul level. I start to learn conflict-free conflict resolution in Landek Academy with many Iranian professors like Dr. Danesh, Dr. Berus, and also American professors. And I didn't apply it. I applied only in there at Landek Academy when we invited all leaders from ex-Yugoslavia to talk and to find common denominator, and we introduce education for peace in many schools in ex-Yugoslavia, where people instrumentalize religion and other ethnicity in this war. I don't want to speak now about big politics and international politics. It's not my aim. My aim was just to emphasize that I will be happy to help your team in teaching, and also you with this television program. Our problem is that we don't have infrastructure yet in Romania, and maybe I will try to involve many people from Romania, not only 3 of us, and to find ways and to ask if we are allowed to finance, to find external support, like other grants, or I don't know, common funds putting together in order to find a way to build our infrastructure. We only with people which like to work, I think it's not enough. We need to have good facilities to have quality. We can start in the beginning with your help, but we have to, I don't know, to have autonomy. So can you, Mr. Keshe, can you answer to my question if we are allowed to find extra funds to buy what we need? Thank you.
We need a lot of funding, but the Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers have shown over past years how we need to be supported, some support on different ways, time-wise and others. At the moment, we rely on the Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers to support the structure to build up these local television station or nation television stations for KF for themselves. But generally, we expect that through the structure we set the Keshe Foundation to become financially through advertising and sell off teaching programs to other stations and governments to become self-sufficient the first 2 years. We have a structured the Foundation TV to be on the basis of very much supported on the national language levels directly by the people, which allows us to deliver knowledge. We see and we are taking the steps that the Keshe Foundation will become spread around the world through its knowledge and technology. We see a lot of abuses by people who think they can, what we call harass the Keshe Foundation. Very soon we open a way that you'll be understanding how we are protecting the foundation and the television channel and everything else from the menace of some people who used to be in the Keshe Foundation. We expect prison sentences for those who are in that way taking the steps to harm the foundation. And we have to understand that there is a lot of pressure on Keshe Foundation at the moment in opening up to public. And we have seen, especially in the past week, 2 weeks, so much lies and deception has appeared on the internet. Governmental organizations have taken the steps to protect Keshe Foundation. Do not be surprised that you will see ex-members of the Keshe Foundation behind bars in a very short time. We work within the ethos and work of the foundation, and we don't stand any intimidation. But at the same time, we work to spread the knowledge and the technology. And in so many ways, we need huge amounts of financial support. The financial support has to come through the structure that your national language needs to spread the knowledge. The way I see it is to be very, very much on your guard that make these television programs in your local language, in the national language, that then is at the quality that we can submit it as Keshe Foundation TV to your nationals, to your nation government. If you approach them, they will not look at it. But by you initiating, making a high quality teachings that is shown on your TV section, in gathering total knowledge, then we offer it back to your government, to your authorities, educational authorities, to become immediately as part of the national teaching. There is a very technical way to look at this, how we do not need that much financing, but we need financing time and in quality of the production. And in a way, when the teaching becomes public teaching on a television in Brazil, the way they already have opened the door for us, becomes public teaching in Iran, becomes public teaching in other part of the world, the other nations will pick on it because they don't want their citizens to be behind. And it takes a lot of understanding from all of us. And the support, the financial support comes with the time we put in it. When it's needed, like the German group have set up a special organization to build a studio in City of Linz for the Keshe Foundation TV, which means is both internet-based and television-based. We can break it through rapid news. And then if it can be done in other countries, we don't ask for it. The German speaking language team has decided that they build this and donate it to the Keshe Foundation. The same thing, there is no money involved for us, but the structure is set for us. If we can do the same in Brazil, we can do the same in China and in other countries, then these high quality teachings will become part of the national teaching. And this is what we see the financing. Keshe Foundation for past 15 years, 20 years has kept his own promises and work to go and carry on. We still carry on. I finance it privately whenever it's needed. And now Keshe Foundation has reached the point of maybe next year or this year become financially viable for itself. And you will see we have signed an agreement that all 3 Keshe Foundation books, book 1, 2, and 3, to become the best sellers, which this brings us huge exposure. We have what we call come to an agreement and sign the agreement, initial agreement. The second agreement is going through this week, that all 3 books within the next 6 months we paid it to be made, exposed internationally to become bestseller. When you have a bestseller in a scientific book, you'll find many people will turn into the Keshe Foundation. And this is, again, as I said, is peace dividend. As I said many times in past research, I have found peace and pleasure to be able to serve the foundation. The people who were around me causing continuous mayhem in my life have gone, and amid it, I have found peace and a lot of pleasure in other people around me who brought these pleasures to me. And I want to transfer this to all the knowledge seekers, to bring peace to all of you and win it to humanity. Because when you have a terminal, what we call partner, it brings you that terminal life. And now I have found peace, and it's with it, I want to bring all of you peace, to understand, to share the knowledge. And I would have never disclosed meeting with the governments the way I've done today, because it brought me a lot of peace. When your government calls upon you to go ahead and negotiate peace for us, when outcome of it, they know they're sitting outside watching how I've been negotiating. And it's brought me a lot of peace and love to know that tomorrow in a meeting with the governments and officials of nations which are supposed to be enemies, we put the olive branch on the table with knowledge, with science, nothing else. We are not going in there to say we'll be good boys. We go in there and say, we have a knowledge you want, we share. It's the true peace dividend. And this is how we want to be paid. Financially, somehow Keshe Foundation in past 15 years, 20 years has grown strength by strength. There can be a lot of claims. During this program, we just received another huge claim by the same bunch of hooligans, and it'll be responded by authorities. You have to understand what we built for Keshe Foundation belongs to all of us, not 1 or 2 people. If we open the documents which you received and claims of 100 million and 50 million for whatever, what I call the names that can put on it, you'll be ashamed how these people are around. And they were supposed to be the followers of the Keshe Foundation. It's just they've been in it for money making with the disguise of whatever. We see in it what the wealth of the foundation is knowledge seekers. And the way you can pay is by build these television centers in your national languages. Support it and find a way to do it. And as I said, we will go internationally, very wide open. with the support of very fast other television channels. Just spread the knowledge, just be there to share knowledge the way we've done. And in some way, be as humble as Alex to know that serving and seeing others to grow on your teaching becomes another step for development of NACT. As I said, there are people with a false name sitting here who are listening and planning. We got rid of them out of the foundation. But now we've seen the mayhem in the past 2 or 3 weeks with the lies and everything else and deceptions. We keep silence out of our grace and what we have that we can do work to share knowledge. You'll be amazed how people who learn knowledge from are humble enough to know their own limits and where they can expand it. And we'll see more and more of these people. Finding now, tomorrow, especially in negotiations with the Israelis and the Americans, standing on behalf of the Keshe Foundation, and at the same time standing on behalf of the Iranian nation, Iranian leadership, to say we want peace, we want to negotiate peace to the Israelis. To stand with the Americans, say we want peace and negotiating peace through knowledge, and the knowledge of the Keshe Foundation gives a lot of strength to us. There are 2 groups on the peace negotiation with Israelis and Americans. One is Iran, and one is the Keshe Foundation, knowledge and technology. And this is the beauty of what we have. And this is what it's worth to work for. And I do not know when I've been so in the way at peace than past 24 hours on our rapid flight to our position to be here tonight, to be able to start negotiation tomorrow. It has brought me such a pleasure to see world leaders agree a man of science can become negotiator for peace between them through his knowledge. And whatever will come of it belongs to all of us. Keshe Foundation is a knowledge-based organization. And second, the Keshe Foundation has no assets. And the Keshe Foundation factories, which are in my name, belongs to all of us, but in fact not to one to claim 100 million and 50 million from its management. Now you understand what the turmoil is on the internet with all of you you've seen in the past 3-4 weeks. I said in a very simple way, do we know the reason of it is to disrupt and create the mayhem which has been created for years, and how it doesn't, because it's brought peace to us. It's brought so much peace, which is amazing. I found peace and happiness, and tomorrow this peace and happiness will become way to the world leaders by request of another nation. And when I go into these negotiations tomorrow, I take all of you with me, because it's not me who negotiates peace, but a lot of us who has taught knowledge and technology and brought peace to the others. It's when I negotiated for Northern Ireland, as I said many times before, I walked on the bridge in Salford in North Manchester. MI5 and MI6 officers of the British government wanted to walk over the bridge and nobody can hear us. We parked our cars on the different side of the bridge and we walked. And they said, Mehran, do you know what risk you're taking? You could be killed. IRA is not merciful to people like you. Not even the, what we call the Protestant side. I said, you know, peace takes worth taking a step like this. I took God away. The MI5 officer hugged me. He said, "You're more British than we are. You're more committed to peace than we are." And we split, and we start the demolishing of the IRA and what we call Dr. Paisley's structure, who sat there for 300 years base foundation. And now in past 20 years, we found peace. And it's amazing when you go to Northern Ireland, when you see Irish people. I have connection to Ireland. I have nieces who are half Irish. And I saw their peace will be for me, because then is my life which will be at peace. And the same when I committed myself to 5+1 in the beginning of sharing the technology. And we achieved it. Now this will be another step. And I wish we could record these meetings. I wish we could see the arrogance of the world leaders who refuse peace, but at the end they have to submit to it. And in so many ways, there is no value. We cannot put value how much it'll cost to do these teachings. How much would it bring us? These teachings should be calculated, because we put pennies or cents and we get millions of cents back. I was explaining to knowledge seekers this morning when I received the order from Iran in a simple way. I said, "Do you know why I work for peace? When we achieve 5+1, I said, many Iranian children could have food on the table, could receive medicine. Many people, some 70, 80 million people, found a lot of less pressure. They could, the day was worth living. A child could at least have more food. And this is what it pays off. When we achieve peace tomorrow, I will make sure over the next months negotiations, we take sanctions up peel by peel. Is that child who wakes up, he doesn't have to pay $300 for what is $1 in the West. This is how bad it is in Iran. When you pay 50, 100 times more for a tablet which can save life and families cannot afford. And then you say it was worth fighting for. It was worth going into the peace negotiation. It was worth to be shot, bombed, and poisoned. And this is the way we work as Keshe Foundation. Not how much it costs, but how much is worth at the end of it. When now in Northern Ireland there is no father who is worried if my son will come home will not be bombed, or a son who thinks if my mom will get home she'll not be bombed, is over for 20 years. And I've always been proud of being part of the main structure of the Northern Ireland Peace Group. When I took every tanker out of Northern Ireland and shipped it to Manchester and shipped it out to Africa, and I stopped the Northern Ireland bombing by financial or struggling a bit, it gave me a lot of pleasure, because it was less bomb to blow, less one man not to go home without not knowing if his children will see him again. And now is the step we take further. But the peace treaty worth. The beauty of it is that the world is have started directly negotiating and interacting with the Keshe Foundation on the base of knowledge and scientific knowledge and peace. And if you ask me how much does it cost, ask yourselves how good can you make your television programs that the rest of your nation in 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or a month or a year later will listen to what you teach. And if you have recorded it good and work together to make it good, then your nation will develop much faster. Your language nation will develop much faster. At the moment, we have 15, 16 languages have sent members to the foundation. We think we'll make it to 20 by Wednesday. In total, we cover with these 20 languages about 65 to 75% of the world population. Chinese, the English, the French, the Germans, the Portuguese, the Brazilians, coming with their own language. 16 language members have already come in. We already have become an international organization in program and in teaching. No organization has ever been like this. When you start a television station, you have to rely on others to send you the news and whatever is there that you could run the station. We do it ourselves from every corner of this planet. We don't need to bring, we volunteer to teach, to bring the knowledge ourselves in to public. As I said, the biggest achievement in my life in past few weeks has been that I found peace and happiness and joy. And from that time, everything has changed. We see continuous flow of good news every week. Every Thursday we have something new. The new enhancement unit, vertical unit, is a revolution in science. Massive revolution in science. We will show it hopefully fully operational in the next few days. And then you will see the effect of it around the world. There is a very beautiful law in Austria. A company cannot be touched by no one for nothing and for no value. And this is the beauty how we transfer in the Keshe Foundation Austria to ownership of the Keshe Foundation as a whole. And that belongs to all the humanity. And we build it to become. And we have seen now the television channel in Mexico will come operational very, very quickly next month or so. We will see Mexican, Spanish speaking live television teaching, especially for the television. We expect the same from Brazil. We know Arizona can support that. Austria has got its own center. China is building its own center. And we see every corner of this planet come into action. But we are the newsmakers, and the Keshe Foundation is a vertical operation. From the base, the knowledge belongs to us, to sharing it on the top directly, commercializing it, and progressively developing it to be. And hopefully very soon, Keshe Foundation Bank and what we call the Keshe coins will become internationally operational as we are working on it. We are moving to move the Keshe Foundation coin to very much independently as a Bitcoin, not a Bitcoin, but a financial coin supported by itself. We have people who are working in the background to see this through. That very much as you buy Bitcoins today, you'll buy Keshe coins in the international market very soon, which becomes the backers of the development of the technology. And then a structure for building new airports which can handle the new space programs and not the runways and the buildings we have today. We know in a very short time, all airports have to be reconstructed that they can accept what you call UFOs. The loading of the spaceships are different than the loading of the aircrafts. It's totally different.
Mr. Keshe, will airports need the same amount of space because they won't need all those runways for takeoff?
We need more landing space. You can land on your roof, but we have to follow a structure that people don't go what we call crazy with it. There is a structure, there is a lot of changes will come in through in the next years as the space development complete. We need landing rights, space rights for our visitors, that we know who and how and the way they come and they go, that we enjoy their beauties, their knowledge. at the moment is coming in not to be seen. Very soon, come in, we want to share. It's a change of mentality.
So this means setting up a lot of tourism as well.
Who becomes tourist? You have to read the text I put last week and on Thursday from the Iranian officials. He says 1 minute to the moon. Read. It's very important that you read who has signed the bottom of this report. If anybody can bring it up, just see who has signed it. Does anybody have a copy of it you can put up?
Where is it located?
We have put it, let me see if I can find it. Then I'll show you. Because many people have not realized how important this thing is, because they have not realized the potential of what is being and who has signed it. I have to find it that I can show it to you. The signatory to this is very important.
Mark, I have shared in the chat.
Pardon?
I have shared the link in the chat.
Kitan?
I have shared it in the chat. It's Motaba Karimi, Deputy Minister of Social and Cultural Affairs. Is that it?
Yes. Deputy Minister. It means is approved by the government. This means announcing the Keshe technology to be used by the Iranian has approved to be published by Deputy Minister of a nation which is to do with the culture and science and technology of the nation. The most important part of this report is this part, is this signature.
I have it here. I can slide it over.
Please put it on. It's not that it's written. And it is how important has been considered that the Deputy Minister of a nation has is there a music with it?
I'm not sure how to stop
On
the
the
music.
on the right top in the URL menu, left, in the middle, left, left, more left.
Mark, you can put on translate on Chrome.
This is the official voice of the Iranian Sabah and Iranian leadership, where the news has been spread. I think you have to change it. Can you go back to the text? This is in Farsi, we put the English version of it up before. The important is that this is not an article just to be released, it's an article to explain a lot of things about Iran, power in knowledge and technology. And as I always said, when I speak on behalf of the Iranian nation and Iranian leaderships of peace and prosperity of the nation. And this has shown again that when you have such an article signed by a deputy minister, it means it puts the seal of the government on it. Do you have the English version of it? Somebody can post it up. And it's a privilege to have your name to be mentioned underneath of the students of your knowledge who've been martyred. And in so many ways, we give our lives for betterment of the others in the future. And it is amazing how the Keshe Foundation knowledge and technology has crossed borders in equal amount and in the same shape. And it'll be amazing to see how we extend this knowledge, to what extent we can bring peace to a lot of us. If you go to the bottom of it, please, and then you see the signatory of the post is very clear. It says, sincerely, the Honorable Nation of Iran, Mustafa Karim, Deputy Minister of the Social and Cultural Affairs. We are supported and be sealed by the government that our technology is correct according to what they've written about. And thanks to all of us in bringing this technology to where it is and sharing it so freely with everyone.
In many locations, Mr. Keshe, you've called the knowledge seekers students as well as teachers. How can the students, and I know you said to teach, all you need to do is to share what you think you understand or what you know, and allow the souls, the other souls, to take what they need from it. How can we bridge the gap to feel the confidence that we can be not a certified teacher, but a teacher that's conveying correct knowledge? Or is it that it's based on how our soul understands the knowledge?
I think it's a part of two. Even if you make a mistake in your teaching and somebody hears it and from that mistake so gets something out of it and develops something new for the benefit of humanity, you still taught the correct way, even though you taught the wrong way. The knowledge of creation has no wrongs in it. The end conclusion is what is the outcome of that interaction, that involvement, that change. When you look at the structure of the earth, is very, very much it's wrong compared to the rest of all the planetary and the star system. It's twitched by a few degrees, but look, that one few degrees down has created seasons, has created man, has created plants, has created the beauty of this planet. Is that twitch few degree being wrong? Has it led to creation of such a beautiful planet? The outcome counts, not how what we think we might have taught is slightly wrong or did something wrong. It should have been 2 drops of gas, one became 1 drop, and the other one became 4 drops. So what is the outcome of the new combination? What is going to do? As I said in one of the teachings past few hours, On Friday, I was in the lab and I just picked up a few drops of water and I mixed them together and they start creating the ganses of muscle tissue. And I said to the knowledge seekers in the lab, you see how easy it is to create life? Just with the transparent water, knowing the knowledge. And it takes me a few more drops and I can give you the heartbeat. When you want to make something to look bad, you can talk over it and make it bad, and it's the most beautiful thing in the world, because the others don't know the beauty. Is when you read my letters to the world leaders, there's always a carrot and a stick, and the carrot is much bigger than the stick. But depends, do you want to show the carrot or do you want to show the stick? Which one is to your benefit? If you look at all the progressive teaching to certain knowledge seekers, they've been taught fully how to create life. No knowledge seeker went through more or less the whole process of the teaching without not knowing how to generate and create life. But they don't see it because they were not there to understand it. As I said, especially now with the new vertical system, I can put a tank of water in there and a few drops, you will see the fish will be mating. I can create an environment between those two walls within the structure of the horizontal and the vertical enhancement unit and bring you the soul of Christ. But when you see his souls, do you recognize it? Or to you is another image, to you another sound, to you is another illusion, because nobody knows him. Or would your soul feel his soul and understand this is the blessed Christ? As I said to a Jewish rabbi, would you like me to bring the soul of Moses and him confessing to his crimes? Do you think anybody will stay a Jew? The knowledge now is within our hand. It's just how do we interpret it and do we teach wrong? And does our wrong teaching lead to creation of a new beautiful manifestation of another knowledge? Because you taught wrong and the knowledge seeker understood it his way and developed it with his knowledge and develops a beautiful thing. So your destiny was to make the teaching the wrong way. Because out of it came a beautiful product at the beautiful end.
That's very comforting.
We have a very beautiful saying for us. We say the grass must come sweet to the mouth of the sheep. Which means all the sheep eat the grass, but it's not as sweet as the one which that sheep choose. And knowledge brings a lot of peace. Knowledge brings a lot of confidence. And if we know that in our teachings we made a mistake and we have let it be there, you have to ask why has it happened? You say, who is supposed to learn something from it? And what would be the outcome? Is Earth twitched by a few degrees a mistake? Or has it become the most beautiful planet in the universe that the Creator has chosen to live in? Which one? I made man in the image of myself. So the Creator lives on this planet, if the man is his image.
Mr. Kish, may I ask you, we are like a shadow of the Creator?
No, God doesn't have a shadow. Man has a shadow. He has no physicality. It's the essence of his creation is embedded in the soul of the man.
So we are not, the life is not a Maya, an illusion. It's very real.
Touch yourself when you tell me.
I'm not sure what I'm feeling and if it's real or not. Because when I dream also, I can feel without using moving my body or only my soul. And what is a reality? It's plasmatic and physicality, both.
Not really, but the thing is, you have to understand, do you feel the emotion of the existence of physicality? Or does that emotion confirm the existence of the soul? This is what man has not answered yet.
Yeah, I think with we feel with all our five senses, or maybe there are more and we don't know, because of activity
There are many more
of our
senses
soul.
not
Yes,
aware of.
I think so.
You see, you fall in love in different ways in the cycle of life of man and the soul. I explain that in many, many ways in the teachings and in understanding of the teachings, that when you have a disturbed soul, it disturbs everybody. In the physical life, we call it ADHD. If you look at the attention deficiency, hyperactive children, they continuously disturb everybody and everything when they walk into a community or a society. And we have disturbed souls who are this way too. They want confirmation of existence. They cannot find peace because they've done so much wrong that by this keeping everybody disturbed, they can cover their misconducts and the damage they've done, because they cannot even face that themselves, how much damage they've done. They're continuously on a trail of harming the others and creating problems for others for their misconducts not to be shown. Is this a conduct of the soul not being happy with the physicality? Or does the soul bring that physicality to the point to be like this, that it's ashamed to be in the body of the physical dimension? When you find and understand the emotion of the soul and the feeling of the soul, then you understand what is physicality and what is the dimension of the soul. Ask yourself every day, why am I here in this position, in this place? Who brought me here? Did I? Or am I a consequence of the interaction of my soul with the other soul that I have to be here? Be it in the car, be it in the bus stop, be it in being there 10 minutes late to miss the bus, so that at the end of the trip, you come across an old lady who wants to cross the road, cannot, and you help. Why were you late that you're there to help that woman? Because she could be run over. She cannot do. Life of the man is the trace print of the field interaction of his souls with the other souls. But we are so physical, we don't see it. Why were you born? Why are you here at this point? Why do you have to teach someone? Man always thinks, oh, I'm going there. But you have to understand, the soul has already decided, you're just carrying the body to that point. And this is what we don't understand. Our soul position us, our physicality take us to the position the soul has already agreed to be in. Be it 20 years down the line, be it 40 years down the line, be it the next second. Then we understand more and more. And this is what I always say. Are you here because your physicality brought you here? Or are you here because your soul agreed to be here at this point for what you've done in the past to be corrected or to be added to? This is what none of the knowledge seekers have understood in all the teachings I've done. Maybe some of you understand. What's the reason you are here, or what's the reason you came to be here at this time and place and space? Are you here because you decided to be? Or are you here because the soul has already pinpointed, you just brought the physicality and you went through the experience of it? The second is the reality, is the operation of the soul. This is what a lot of you say, I haven't seen my soul, but I see it, I believe it. Why are you here? Because your soul brought you. This is the evidence of existence of your soul, not your physicality just turning up to be here. You wanted a confirmation that your soul exists? Stand there and watch. Why are you here? Your ancestors did something which was good, and it took 100 years, 200 years for everything to balance, for you to be here to harvest the benefit of their deed. Even though you're not aware of it. And say, oh, I came across a good fortune. But why you were there to collect that fortune? Man hasn't realized. Many of you keep on saying, I want to see my soul. See your physical existence while you're here. Why you've been brought to have all sorts of beauties and all sorts of pleasures. And then you think, why do I come here to enjoy this beautiful flower, to enjoy this beautiful woman, to enjoy this beautiful man, to enjoy the beauty of a child, to enjoy the beauty of even a car? What have I done? Did I deserve this? But understand, your soul has brought you there. And think what you did maybe a year ago, 10 years before, and now is what you wanted, or what you wished for, or what would have been there to bring you the pleasure that the soul agreed. This is the proof of existence of the soul, and none of us sees it. And we just go like a cow in a field of hay and grass and eat whatever we like, and we think we just here. Many of you says, when I see my soul, I believe it. Ask yourself, why am I here? What happened to me yesterday that I went through that pain? Why did my soul bring my physicality here to experience that? Then you understand the presence and existence of soul. Man is too physical. And you think it just happened to you. How many of you are in this meeting today? And what's the reason you're here? Why have you come to learn knowledge and the beauty of it that you can share it? What good have you done that you brought you to this process that you make it for the others to enjoy in the future? You think all of you are here just because you turned out to hear about the Keshe Foundation and then you are here to devote your life to serve humanity? My God, you haven't even understood. Your soul has brought you here, and this is there. What have you done to be here? What are you here to learn from? Why are you there tomorrow to watch an accident, or you're going to a football match to get the joy of life, of being with other souls? You want a proof of, I want to see my soul? Ask why and how my soul has brought me here to experience this. Then you understand the existence of your soul. Then you've seen your soul. Then you have tasted it. You've seen its operation. You've seen how he puts your physicality to get there. I explained this once, and maybe you understand it. The work of the soul is like a lover. You're at home or you're at work, and your lover is at home or at work. If your lover is at home and you're at work, you run to be home with your lover. And when you get home, you enjoy the presence, the touch, the feel, the kiss. Now ask yourself one question. Isn't the lover the soul, that the physicality does everything to reach there at that point to enjoy the presence and confirmation of the love? And this is what the soul is. Soul is that lover waiting for you to get to the point to taste and explaining it and feel it. But then ask yourself, how did my physicality to get here to fail and taste it? The lover is the soul, and he decides where, and you just take the body because the lover is there. And then you keep on saying, when I see in my soul, I believe in it. You haven't even understood the work of the soul. Why am I here? What am I supposed to understand? What am I supposed to learn? This is what you say to yourself, but you don't ask one main question. Why has my soul brought me to here? From what I've done before, to learn from it for the future, or to understand what I did right or wrong before. Then maybe you understand when I tell you I'm at peace and I'm happy. I've never been so happy in my life. Especially in the past 30 years, I've seen nothing but misery and pain. From every angle. But when I stand here, as I told you, when I wake up this morning, I couldn't even, I was up till about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then 7 o'clock. I didn't know if the phone is a phone or it's just something I'm tired of. I sleep only 3, 4 hours, and in the middle of 3, 4 hours, it's very hard to get up. I pick the phone and I hear the instructions from Meridian Leadership. And I ask my question, one thing, why is my soul here to get this such a pleasure? Because I served, and I'm giving it the gift to enjoy it. And now, more than God knows, 15 hours later, I'm still going. And still, if I sleep tonight, is another story. When you meet and you reach to a point and ask yourself, why am I here? Why has my soul has brought me here? Then you understand to believe in soul, in work of it. Not just, oh, I went there and this happened. Why did your soul take you there to experience it? What was the arrangement with the other souls to be there for you to see, to understand? Then you have the proof of your soul. Then you understand why you have to judge everything you do every day.
Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, John.
How are you?
Still alive, very happy and joyful. And thanks to you, tomorrow I've got a big battle with your people because of you.
There's a few good ones in this country.
Oh,
So.
there is plenty of good ones. The whole discussion is I transfer the units to you. What is the guarantees? Unless we work together, transfer the Iranian knowledge into your premises, which we are partners with each other, and Americans respect it. This is the biggest question tomorrow on the negotiating table. And as we agreed, your center is becoming a space center research.
Well, I send my loves that the negotiations might go in the right direction. My heart tells me they will.
Oh, well, don't worry. You and I done enough damage to make sure it happens. Or we done enough good to make sure it happens.
Hey, I got a question. It has to do, I kind of think I know the answer, but I want to get your perspective. When we send that, let's say, for example, I'm trying to send a package to you with my soul. So I have this package in front of me. I put this energy field around this package from the front of my forehead area and create, and I tap into my soul. I create this, I'll call it a bubble around this package.
This is the
And then
wrong, but you're in the wrong service, sir. You have to change your delivery service. The way you got to do it is to give love to every soul of every atom in that package. I want it to be where it can manifest itself, that it gives pleasure to the one you're sending it to.
That makes sense. And how about where it ends up? Let's say I'm sending it to you. How do I get it?
It's very easy. You have a connection with me and I receive that package. Do I want to open it? Do I want to taste it physically, or I want to have the pleasure of knowing the package has arrived? Do you
And
understand?
place it on your kitchen table, for example?
It could be in your brain, doesn't need a kitchen table. It could be an apple in it that you want me to taste, and I taste it from the essence of the soul of the apple. When I was young, I had this repeated many, many times. We used to have a postman, and I just separated at a young age from my parents in Iran, and being in Europe, I knew when there is a postman and a letter from your father. My sister said, how do you know the postman has got a letter for you today? I said, watch, there's going to be a letter from my mom today. And there was a letter in the post, in the hand of the postman, from my mother. Because my mother sent it with the soul of love and care, and I already received it. It was just a confirmation of physicality. I didn't need to read the letter. And
So
this is, pardon?
So the pack doesn't matter. It could be a big huge box, tons and weight, and still you could receive it. Or is there a size?
You know, in English, you say sealed with a kiss.
Yeah.
Is that the kiss of love? Is that the kiss of emotion that it's there? Does it matter what is in the envelope, or that kiss which sealed it, that it carries the emotion? You remember the old times, the lovers used to put a lipstick on and kiss the envelope.
Mm-hmm.
What does that carry? And in the song says, sealed with a kiss is the emotion which comes. I don't need to open the letter with the lipsticks and the color on it. I know it carries a lot of joy and happiness.
So we'll send it. We'll send your American and Israeli friends an envelope with our love, so that they get it before they enter the meeting, and they won't even know that they got it.
We hope so. We hope so. Thanks to you very much. 80% of my meeting tomorrow is because of you, John. That we want to negotiate how we trust our technology will be safe in the hand of Americans. We trust you. We put our life in your hands. Now we want the commitment from your nation. We want to share it equally. You are 80% of the cause of me going to these meetings at the moment with them. We want to send the units.
Down somewhere.
Pardon?
We got to knock the doors down some way.
I hope
you
your
close
soul
for
is with
too
me
long.
tomorrow. You're going to speak the language of your people to see how we find the solution. The only solution is a peace.
Right here.
Last time we gave the Americans the key of the knowledge. This time is a product, it's an end product. And it's the same with the Israelis, because Americans are straight away share everything with Israel, because half of the administration are Jews. So we decided of going half and bother if they receive it, we go directly with both. In a way, you are an excuse for us to start a peace talk. And being a shareholder in a company in America with you and wanting to transfer it into ourselves and knowing that you're sharing the technology with the American space organizations, we agreed with the governor's office, keeps us that way. This position of today is a long work you and I done years ago. And our soul has brought us to this point.
I'll tell you a little secret. In a way, I kind of knew that this was the direction I was going a long time ago.
You mean your soul already informed?
My soul knew.
Spied on us.
Yeah.
Leaked the information. It's a beautiful the way I work with you, John. It's an honor to know you. And in so many ways, it's the cause of, will be the cause of a lot of peace. I got angry with the Chinese on Friday morning with the misconduct of their work. And I could not hold my anger, not in anything as anger, in a way of dismay and disappointed with their cheating. And I called our connections with the Chinese officials. And on the phone, I was telling them, you know something, you can steal once from me. This time is finished. We are not doing any more with you. You stole too much. Every time I gave you technologies of working with us, you went behind my back trying to do something with it. And I had enough of your, what do you call it, double work. And that was Friday, about 12 o'clock. Saturday morning, around about 8 o'clock, I received a call from China. The President Xi has ordered that you receive such a gift from us for the misunderstanding. It was more or less for misunderstanding of the day before. That's how fast they responded. And I said to our people, 2 years we've been trying to do this. And I had to call them who they really are, what they really do, that they understand what they've done wrong, that they try to correct it. And it's the same. Why are we here? And what are we doing here? To seek confirmation of our own soul's existence. I could enjoy tomorrow beautifully in the lab, going all the way, God knows, packing and getting and ready and getting as fast as we could to the point of destination for negotiation. I don't know how today has gone. But I'm sure tomorrow will be a more interesting time when we have to talk to the Israelis, when we have to talk to the what we call the Americans. And in reality, what we talk to them is we want to take new technology to our own company in Arizona. We don't want you to touch it, and we want you to support it, and it's Iranian nuclear technology. So what do we do? Something very interesting, if you listen to some other comments recently, is that people who try to stop the Keshe Foundation work in Austria for the design center, they confess themselves how devious they were. They called everywhere, to all the government officials, to the exhibition center. They called everyone they could in the army. And what has been, according to what they themselves put out, is that they said he's a nuclear physicist and he knows what he's doing. And I stood in front of Klaus and said, you know, Klaus, we think we are idiots, nobody knows, but the whole government and the whole governing bodies of this country know I'm a nuclear physicist, know we are doing these tests here. And the answer to our enemies, he's a nuclear physicist, he knows what he's doing. It shows the confidence the nation has in our work. And we start literally hugging each other. That was a beautiful thing. In their stupidity and what they call rage, they have brought confirmation to us that the Austrian government supports us. And it shows how much they go out to damage. But at the end of it, we are pretty solid. Because as a nuclear scientist, I share my knowledge with all the nations. And I have to negotiate with your government how I'm going to share this one, the real thing. Last time they had it on the key. You receive one of the most amazing sets which Keshe Foundation will develop. And that's a gift to you and your work in Arizona.
And can't wait.
We're trying to get it out in the next 4 weeks, but the biggest problem for us is opening the television station and trying to get the power generator and the flight system at the same time out. We have to see.
Okay, I'm going to challenge each one of the people in the participants in the group today to also send an envelope of love to the negotiators on behalf of the foundation, that maybe collectively, like Salami was kind of talking about, collectively we make it such that the souls have no choice but to participate.
We hope so. We might not get an answer next month, but as the souls move towards the direction of peace, we might reach a lot. I never go into these kind of negotiations and expect come out glorious and full. When we met with the Americans on the 17th of November in 2012, when I handed the key to the Americans and I asked for a negotiation, nobody knew that 2 weeks later, this handshake on the table with the Americans will bring Hillary Clinton to the Iranian airport to negotiate. And it would have happened, nobody would have known, unless, you know, that the plane crashed and an American Marine died, unfortunately. And then Hillary Clinton received a huge brain hemorrhage that you saw it in the following elections. She had to be injected and everything else. She received that brain damage in Iran landing. And then we asked questions within the national security, within Keshe Foundation security. We went through the landing. We literally drew every path of the plane to land. When I announced immediately, if you go on the archives of the internet, that I sent a message to the White House that we are prepared to help with our knowledge we have the damage to the brain of Hillary Clinton in the accident in Iran. Obama immediately responded, says, if we need, we call for your help. Let us do our way. And nobody announced that Hillary Clinton had a brain damage in Iran. We went through it. We literally rescheduled. We drew the flight path. We did everything Keshe Foundation National Security. Keshe Foundation has a huge security. We don't get involved in killing people, whatever. We set out to see what is going on, how we are. We are a very ethical organization. We did the same with Fabio's accident. We drew what we had, and then we brought into the national security. We sat with the Italian police, with the helicopters and everything, reconstruct the accident. It showed Fabio's wasn't killed By accident, Fabio was hammered on the side road, what do you call it, hard shoulder. Our agreement with the police of Italy is the same. Hillary Clinton, we saw it was an accident. It was deliberate. It was done by the Defense Secretary of Israel as a lover of her. She knew he's going to Iran. She did that to stop the negotiation. And it was very clear. We reconstructed the whole footpath, the whole landing. And then we announced, straight away, I announced, go in the archives, that there is a foreign plane in Ahvaz. And go in the archives of news, you see it. Ahvaz, head of airport, says, we have a damaged foreign airport airplane getting repaired. We could not repair, we couldn't get a screw of a plane of Boeing into Iran for 30 years. And now Boeing engineers were on the floor on the runway of Ahvaz airport repairing the plane which Hillary Clinton was damaging, because it's a special plane carrying one of the leading officials. And they flew it out. I announced it and it was immediately confirmed by Ahvaz airport. It's in the news. We take a lot of steps to do things. The Keshe Foundation security team has been with me long before Keshe Foundation. They're part of integral of my work. And we assess things. We assess how things are. This is how we knew the poisoning of me in the house was done by people in the house, not outside. And then pretended they're poisoned. We knew a lot of things, how accident happened, how things took place. When we reconstructed the Fabio's accident, we knew it was well planned and people knew about it. And this is part of the question asking why my soul has been there to experience this. We'll see what tomorrow brings. We see how successful being away and working so hard and to develop this technology will bring us. It's the beginning of the peace. I usually don't get excited when it comes to these matters, but I'm excited that I can bring the Israelis and the Iranians and Americans on the table. We might not get nothing out of it, but at least we have tried. But I think we'll get a lot out of it.
Mr. Keshe, you have to be confident.
We are confident. If we didn't have a confidence, we go in. It's just that you have other call. When you're too confident, you fail. You have when you have to consider. You have to consider in negotiations that we are all equal, and you never take anything for granted, especially in world leading conditions like this. We all go. There's an art in negotiating these things. And we never go in, we come here, you have to listen. We always go in as we have something you are missing, you want to be part of it. There's an art in negotiating for peace.
They need peace of their soul and happiness. And our soul is peace and happiness. And this is a common ground of everybody. Everybody needs peace. Everybody needs to be happy. And
we shall see. We shall see. It won't be that we achieve everything tomorrow on the day. This is a negotiation for maybe minimum 6 months, a year, 2 years. Israel is a tough cookie to crack, but Israel is a very soft girl to play with, as I always said, because they are very much soft, because they're controlled by many divisions, and it's very easy to split them with love and care and understanding.
Yeah.
And we play the latter than the former. Always, always, if you read my letters, I give them a lot of confidence that they are superior. But at the same time, I tell the nations that there is somebody more powerful than you. You need us to protect yourself, but you have to come to agreement negotiation. In all agreements we make with governments, we always license. And in all our licenses is a peace treaty. Even if you attend tomorrow's meeting, the Keshe Foundation team has already printed all the peace treaty agreements to be on the table first.
I'll teleportate my soul there. No,
The,
I'm not joking.
the,
No, I can't do it.
if you see the bundles of negotiation, which is documents which is set to go out tomorrow, on top of it is World Peace Treaty. I don't take any action without it. It's the same gone to Ayatollah Khamenei, the same is gone to Ayatollah, what do you call it, President Xi of China, the same to American presidents. The whole purpose is to bring a peaceful planet. And the problem we couldn't have because I didn't have peace in my life. Now I have found peace in my life. You'll find out the world leaders will find peace and we are moving. And many Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers have found peace. Then we are moving very, very fast. Very, very fast. Last week, 2 weeks ago, we had a gift of the television. This week we had a gift of peace. And God knows what will come next week.
We change the fields with our souls interaction. It's true.
You know, I'm with you, but my head and my heart is somewhere else, as I'm expecting the birth of my first grandchild and continuously asking my son, is he with us? Is he with us? And it's a new life, a new gift. And in so many ways, uh, uh, we need to understand how life is going to turn up and how our future generation will live totally different life than us. I think one of the most beautiful things will happen to our next generation is I woke up with everyday news how Americans were bombing Vietnam and how Vietnam was doing this and that. And war was everything. And in past years, wars has been everything. The beauty is that our children, in a way, grandchildren, wake up to the news that there is no war in it. And in so many ways, is what we do is that point. I don't want my grandchild ever hear about the war, another person killed in the war, as we have achieved now. The wars are ceasing. We have seen end of many. And then our new generation will hear about how to go to depths of a space, how new things have been found, how man has improved, how many accidents we get people killed in the cars today will not exist in the very near future. The cars carry fields that does not allow them to near enough to bump into a person. Killed on road is become something which is not heard of. And then we see how our new generation will find happiness and joy in everything new. And this is what the new technology will bring. I'm not a dreamer, I know. We have tested it. As you know, when you create a magnetic field around your car, you have that atmospheric condition around it. It's like a magnetic bumper. He can never bump you. A lot of things we are used to with the new technology will not be there for our grandchildren and children. A lot of bad news doesn't exist to become a news. I think the only bad news we hear will be natural disasters. And I'm sure in so many ways, some of it we can find a solution. But natural disaster doesn't happen only on Earth. Our people in the depth of the universe will have accidentally something happens and they get caught.
Mr. Keshe, did you have an update on one of the knowledge seekers that you said was going through a situation?
Which knowledge seeker? What are you talking about?
Last week you said we were talking about virus, and you said one of the knowledge seekers was going through a critical or
He's
situation.
come through it. He's come through it.
That's good.
He's come through it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. He's actually was reached by the guns very quickly.
Okay. Just to conclude, I think that we all knowledge seeker can explain towards the world that we human being, we are not a conflictual nature. Our nature is harmonious. Our nature is love and peace, and they don't have any justification for international conflicts because they justify like this: human nature is a conflictual one, so international system is with conflicts because of this. It's totally wrong. It's false. We have to demonstrate there. Yes.
The thing is, what do we teach ourselves that we can teach to our future generation? There is something for sure. In a very short time to come, from where we stand and what we see, and the evolution in technology we have seen in Keshe Foundation, the menace of drugs will not exist. We have developed the technology to that effect. Menace of alcoholism addiction will not exist because we have decoded the emotion cycle and we have energy packages for it. As I said, there are many researches going on in the Keshe Foundation Center. I trust very few people near me, and the handful of people I've trusted to work with me in the research center, we are doing an amazing job. Amazing job. And the progress and development is huge. We would not see many, many things. We would not see a lot of, the end of viruses is already ends for us, and the technology will come out of the Keshe Foundation very soon in that effect. The environmental changes, the systems, the animal care which is coming out of the Keshe Foundation, that in a way that animals enjoy being where they are, finding peace, not getting sick. end of use of antibiotics for animals is getting tested next week for the second time in the larger scale. I don't look at what the humanity needs. I look at what the plants do need, what the animals need. What do the guests of ours from the space need on this planet to find peace and happiness with us? So a lot of work is getting done. And very soon, I think by mid-March, you will see Keshe Foundation will deliver a full farming package to the farmers around the world. No more this and that as a package. We deliver now commercial packages. The first one is, the second one is getting delivered this next week. That we even care for the farm, for the animals, for them to have a peaceful cycle from their food to the end of their production.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. I love you. I love you so much. You are an angel of peace now.
It may be past his bedtime. It's already 11:30 or so in Europe. We want him to be well rested. But we can continue. Rick.
Sorry
Hello.
about that. No, we are working on our work for tomorrow. The Keshe Foundation team is active. We are finishing the final banners for the what do you call the television channel, which has to go out before midnight tonight. The whole of the Keshe Foundation TV team is in the background. I think some of them are here, but in the background, they are finalizing the last parts, and we need to come in and to be part of it. So we just clarifying the last pieces of the documents before it leaves for the television station. There's a lot of things needs to be done in the background. I think some of the, what do you call, Keshe Foundation television team are amongst us. And, but at the same time, they're keeping an eye on the last developments before documents are submitted. Any other comments?
Have you received, Mr. Keshe, any directors from the American language
Don't deal with that.
community?
I think I heard something that Alex has submitted, not some names, but I don't get involved on that side. Once they give the name, they have to go through the structure of the security vetting, and then the process of them being invited to the, what they call it, to the group starts. Not just because you introduce, they become acceptable to us. They have to pass a security check, which once they accept it, then we allow them to join the group. You got to realize people who come close to us, we continuously vet. We keep an eye because it's their lives and our lives and so many other ways. When we let people go, we take the security off. When we decide to let somebody go from the Keshe Foundation, we take the security off them. They're not our responsibility to watch because it's not a danger to us. But all the people who come to work within the TV, they'll be vetted continuously. because what they do, how they present themselves, how they present the Keshe Foundation counts and the practice in that nation. As I said, more and more knowledge seekers, as you come, you see, you register as a student, you are vetted. And then we have a front vet, and then we have a long-term Keshe Foundation, what we call total security in the background vet. Vetting is very country, and the more and more we watch, it's just that making sure we see things the right way. And this is why when you see we let people go, they talk a lot and they come up with a lot of rubbish because they have no value to us. They have no value except their own, what we call it, misconduct. We don't let correct people leave the foundation with one way or another. We keep. And as you see in the long-lasting people will start with us, Rick, John, me, Arvin, and many people who we devoted our life to serve the foundation. We are there all the time. One way or another, we cope, we exist. Keshe Foundation is over 200, 300 million, and now will grow to bigger. And have you seen how people appeared, how we got smothered with different people, and they're all there. Where are they? One is dead for $1. The others don't exist. And those who make noises, very soon nobody will know them. Because if you're there to serve, you're there to serve. Doesn't matter what position, unless you have different kind of clandestine activities. Any other question?
Excuse me, I talk too much this night. I'd like to know when we will meet for this next Wednesday.
Are you a member of the group which has been accepted or introduced by the Romanian group?
They proposed me.
If I don't know, I don't get involved in that side. People who have been appointed by the national language team go through the vetting. I don't know who is not. And then they'll be given a time when to, and then each one will receive his own specific. They cannot go anywhere. Nobody can use them. Nobody can enter in these meetings of the groups, as many as you know. It's linked to the email which you are given, and it says exclusive to that team.
Yes, I apply, and also
I don't
Marius.
want to get involved. I don't want to get involved. It's not my job.
Yes.
The people in the background handle these things.
They will answer to us. Okay.
Any
Thank
other?
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for so many hours today, Mr. Keshe. It's been a blessing
welcome.
for all of us.
It's a huge, huge step for us in past 24 hours. In past, it's a pleasure. You know, it's these are the moments you cherish. These are the moments you enjoy for life. For example, when we received telephone calls from the Italian ambassador that they want to have the key of the knowledge. And I still remember walking into the office of the Italian embassy, and then been sent to the official officer that he has to sign that he received the documents on behalf of the Keshe Foundation, on behalf of his nation. These are the moments you remember. Then you cherish it because you understand the nation has a value. Or when you 9 o'clock in the morning, New York time, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, New York Times, out of nowhere, you're waiting to hear who is going to be the next president of the United States, and you receive a call from an ambassador asking you to attend a meeting by an order of his president. These are the moments you remember, and one of the most memorable time for me will be this morning, 7 o'clock, when I received a call from Iran to represent Iran in peace talks directly with the ethos of the Iranian nation. Peace, friendship, and equality. In 21st of February, I told you, February has always been a beautiful month for me in my life. And it's one of those days you remember. And at the same time, yesterday on the 20th of March, when we received the instruction from the Chinese president to give to the Keshe Foundation one of the biggest gifts which we've been waiting for 2 years. And it's amazing how it's developing. I don't expect a hand cuddle and everything, and yes, tomorrow. Tomorrow is the beginning of a very long, hard negotiation. Israelis are the toughest people to negotiate with. I know that because I've got the Jewish blood, so it's not easy. Always used to say, joke is that, you know, when a Jewish guy comes to ask you for something, you say you want £1 for it, says, oh, I'm so poor, you don't have whatever. He says, okay, give me 50 pence. And then you say, okay, oh, $50, can you give it to me free? And then next time you give it free. And then it says, can you deliver it for me free too? This is the way I expect. In a way, we have to give a lot to reach point of peace that both Iranian leadership, support of Iran, which is primarily my prime objective, stays happy within the nation of Iran and brings the same joy and happiness to the nation of Israel and America. It's a very tough cookie to negotiate this way. Very, very tough. We expect a lot of how I hope from the Israelis. This is a usual pattern. And then we'll see where we go next. They always say the only happy Jew is a rabbi Jew which gets paid. And you have to pay to buy happiness. We'll see what will come. We'll pay with love and care.
We send our souls in the background.
We need all the support. It's a tough, tough situation, and I hope we work through the soul and the physicality. We are in the right position. Biden is supporting talks with Iran. Israelis are left alone in the desert themselves. They need the salvation. And the Iranians need to get out of this dilemma of sanctions. And they all know what I'm in there for. I want to bring the knowledge that they all use it a peaceful way, but they have to be at peace with each other before they can use it peaceful way. So, but the only thing is that one of them has the knowledge already, which is Iran, and they confirm it. And the other one is they want to have it not to be fallen apart. It's a big battle, but enjoyable battle. Thank you very much for tonight. I hope I managed to share one of the most beautiful news we are involved in both ways. And let's see what will come out of it in the next few months. It won't be what's the news from it next week from me. You won't get no news. Unless the Israelis and the Americans start talking, we keep very, very quiet till the negotiations are completed. But we try to push whenever there is a need. Thank you very much for tonight.